Hello friends, happy Tesla deliveries report day. That hasn't happened yet, so to sate your appetite for Tesla information, I decided to create a chart this morning that updates you on which luxury brand is selling the most vehicles in the US. I'm sure you wanted to know that. Is it Mercedes-Benz? Is it BMW? Is it Lexus? Is it Infiniti? Any of those could be the number one selling brand of luxury vehicle in the US, but none of them are. Let's check in with my co-host Loki. Why? Because today's episode is also an episode of Breakfast with Loki. Yes, look at that head popping up. All right, let's get him his breakfast. Yes. Oh, check it out. There you go, buddy. Yes. There you go. I got you some food. You got food here, buddy. Come on over and check it out. Okay, so we'll see if he eats or not. If he eats, you'll see it all in the Loki cam. Right here below me. Well, let's see if he wants to eat that kibble or not. Oh, the drama. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But you can keep up with what he's up to in the Loki cam here. Just had to adjust that camera a little bit to make sure I didn't cut off the top of Loki's head. We'll see if he eats breakfast or not right now. He'll eat breakfast later if he doesn't eat it now. And I'll share my desktop with you and show you this tweet. I tweeted out just a thinking face emoji. Because the information on the chart is already so rich, I didn't want to add lots more information to it. What I wanted to do was make people click on this thing and make it bigger and look at it and then draw their own conclusions about what's going on here. So what do we have? Title says, Premium Brands, U.S. Vehicle Sold. This is a modified version of a chart I had a while back that was showing market share percentage. And I changed it because you just have to do so much more explaining. You have to spend a lot more of your real estate in the title section explaining to people what you did than if you just say, hey, here's how many vehicles each premium brand sold in the US. Yes, Loki's gonna eat. Good boy, buddy. What do we have here? Well, from left to right, now this may look blurry on your screen, and it's because this is a very unusual aspect ratio for a chart. Not a great match for the way that I do my videos. I've got more of a traditional 16:9 aspect ratio to share content with you over here. Apart from me in this little view and Loki in this view, chowing down on his kibble for breakfast. Good boy, Loki. Yes. Beside Acura, what's next? Well, they're all presented in alphabetical order, you can guess. I thought that was the most fair way to represent this and to save the Tesla punch for near the end of the reveal. So you've got Acura here, you got Alfa Romeo. The scale here, I didn't want to put more than 4 horizontal lines on the chart. So the fairest way to do that, since Tesla is going to end 2022 with slightly more than 500,000 vehicles sold, is to just take 500,000 divided by 4 and make it a 125,000 scale. That seems a little uneven. 100,000 would have been rounder, but, you know, 500,000, 250,000, 1/8 it's not that objectionable, I don't think. So yeah, Alfa Romeo selling very few sports cars, luxury sports cars down here. Audi every year between 125 and 250. BMW every year between 250 and 375. Same story with Lexus. Same story with Mercedes-Benz. They're kind of range-bound here, and they're not improving. If you look at these trends, BMW's up a little, so I guess they are improving a little. Lexus is not. Mercedes-Benz is not. these trends are mostly down, even though last year, 2022, they could say, hey, we showed growth year over year. Well, sure, they showed growth year over year. You know, Ford and GM said the same thing, but they're way down versus where they were 6 years ago. Loki, did you eat all your food? You did. You're a good boy. All right, back to the Loki's bed cam to give Loki his treat. Yes. Good boy. You get a puppy combo as a reward. Yes. And I'll move this camera back over and do a little adjusting. Change the height here a little bit. There we go. All right, so you can keep an eye on Loki still. As I go back to sharing my desktop, so how did I make this chart? And where did the data come from? Well, it's exactly the same data that I presented in a video not that long ago. If you remember this chart, it's the same data, folks. Now, I didn't group the all others together the same way that I did on this chart. For this one, I just showed Mercedes, BMW, Lexus, Audi, Buick, and then I combined all of the other brands together into one big orange block here before showing Tesla. Just a different way of viewing the same information as stacked bars for each year. But since I had this data for every automaker over here, I just transposed it. So I copied it, and I went down here to the bottom, and I went to Paste Special Transpose, and then I sorted it horizontally. A lot of folks don't know that you can do that in Excel, but you can. If you go through the sort menu, data, sort, you can click on options and then go to sort left to right here and sort stuff. So that's what I did so that I could put it into the browser for Flourish.studio where I created this chart. So we'll look at that. Okay, here's my editor view of this chart where I just created it this morning. I started with that market share percent chart and I duplicated it, and then I swapped out the data. I took the market share data out and I dropped in this new data, which you will recognize as being the same data you just saw in my spreadsheet. I just pasted that in here with years instead of quarters, and then with the brands alphabetically as my columns. And there's a ton of different menus through here that you can make the chart customized to however you want it to look. Like, look at all the different custom colors I put on all the different brands here, right? That sort of thing. So I did that, and then I published it, and the version that you can view that I made as the second tweet in the thread or the reply to just the thinking face emoji with the chart is this. So you can mouse over each of these values, see how many vehicles were sold in the US by each of these brands according to my source, goodcarbadcar.net, or in the case of Tesla, these are Troy Teslikes numbers, because Tesla does not report at the country level of sales detail. They only report global numbers, which is frustrating to people like me who would really love to know official numbers to put on charts like this one. But all I can do is credit my sources on the chart so people know where I got the numbers from and that I did not make them up myself. The other thing you can do here is if you say, hey, some of these are so small, let's get rid of them, you can click them in the legend, so you can get rid of Alfa Romeo, Genesis, Infinity. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. They used to be above 125. They're really low now, way less than 70,000. Jaguar looking pitiful on this chart. Land Rover can go away. And Porsche is the other one that's really small here. So that'll get you to a view like this. Then if you extend your browser windows side to side, you can get it into the same view that I showed, that I took a screen cap of from this website to tweet in that chart that had them all on the same row, so that you don't have one over the other. I mean, this is still pretty impressive this way, but there's just something different about the punch when they all share the same baseline. And you've got Tesla as the only one that's crossed the 375,000 barrier, and in the course of one single year also passed the 500,000 barrier. Like, I'm not sure any of these automakers has ever sold more than 500,000 vehicles in the US in a year before. It may never have happened until last year when Tesla did it, according to the numbers published by Troy TSLA for Tesla, which are probably pretty close, according to most people who have studied what the amount of effort Troy TSLA puts into his content. All right, and that is my video for today. So with that, we'll check back in with Loki, who is napping off the breakfast you just saw him eat. And I'll outro and say, if you've enjoyed today's video, click the like button. If you're not subscribed to my channel already, why not? Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. If you're viewing this on YouTube, you'll see a link right there. And you can click the notification bell to be alerted whenever I post fresh content and make it public. Thank you to everyone who supports me, whether that's on Twitter by subscribing, or on Patreon, or by joining my YouTube channel, as my two executive producers, Kathy Kitchler and Rebellionaire.com, did, earning them a shout out at the end of every video, and I'll see you in the next one.